afternoon, everybody. It's how everybody's doing. This is your boy, Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. Today, I have singer and actress Charleene Closshey. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. I can't complain. Before we get into your journey, I would love for you to give my viewers some encouraging words as we are going through this election time, because I know on both sides it's a little bit, cringe-worthy at times.
Absolutely. Well, I think the biggest thing that's offering me peace right now is the idea and the knowing that we all have the power to choose how we feel. It doesn't matter what's going on around us. It doesn't matter what's going on outside, in our neighborhood, any of that. What matters is going on in here. So check yourself. What is going on in here? And sometimes you'll find, I'm doing okay. And other times I'll find, I have some room for improvement. And that is where I can empower myself to know peace and happiness is something that starts in here. None of that matters.
Amen to that. Thank you for those encouraging words. So what inspired you to become a singer first and foremost, and you kind of transition into from a singer to an actress? What inspired that?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting journey. So when I was born doing music. I mean, literally, my mother, when she was pregnant with me, the doctor said, okay, type A, you need to slow down. So she, of course, took piano lessons. And so the entire time she carried me, I sat literally in front of a piano. So as soon as I could crawl, I crawled to the piano, pulled myself up and started tapping on it. So my parents, when I was 2, they got to do something. So they put me in piano lessons. And I actually learned to read music before I could read words. So music has always been something that it just is who I am. Singing actually came really late to me. My first instrument was piano, and then my primary instrument throughout my life was violin. And I didn't start singing until I was 20. Mm-hmm. And so that was a very, musically, I've kind of had a very interesting journey in that sense. But from the acting side, so it's something that I've always done. I've always been really interested in telling and creating and sharing stories, because I think stories are they touch people and they get to the heart of the matter in different ways, because people are like, I get that. I can relate to that. So it was kind of just this very organic fusion for me where music and acting, storytelling, they just kind of seamlessly have sort of merged. So.
All right. And I see that you were in a film called No Postage Necessary, as well as an Evergreen Christmas. Tell me a little bit about that experience and what can we expect in future projects?
Absolutely. So they were both really different fun projects. So they were both really near and dear to me too, because I was part of the production team. And so you get to tell the story in a different way through a longer period of time. It's very different being hired as an actor and you show up on set and you do your job and you go home and that's it until the premiere, and then everything's just so cool and vibey. When you're part of the producing side and really bringing the story to life and bringing the story to people, you have a different kind of vibe. So the No Postage Necessary, it's a romantic dramedy. And it was actually, it was the first film in history to release on the blockchain, using blockchain technology, and available to stream for cryptocurrency. So it made a huge splash in all the trades. I mean, it was in Variety. They were on Fox News, the morning show, the national one, talking about how this technology of blockchain and cryptocurrency is really impacting, affecting, and changing entertainment. So that was neat to be a part of that, even just beyond getting to tell these stories. So in Evergreen Christmas, I love Christmas. I'm like a huge Christmas junkie.
Same here.
Oh my God, it literally is the best time of year. But it's I don't know, there's something so magical and romantic about Christmas. And so being able to share that in a story, the story itself is a story of a musician who left her small town, made it big although she didn't actually make it big, you know, went to the big city. And then because of a family circumstance, she had to come home and, well, she had to save a Christmas tree farm. I mean, because that's what you do in Christmas movies, let's just be honest. But she had to come back and actually face who she was. And so I think one of the things I love about both of these stories is that, again, it goes back to this empowering choice. And these characters are making strong choices. They start by making weak choices, but they're one of the whole cruxes of their journey is to learn how to choose. And I love that. I mean, I just think there's something really, really special about that opportunity that we as human beings have to forge our destinies, to figure out what it is that we want. What do we want to create? What do we want to manifest? And just choose to do it. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so profound. So both of those stories really tap into that. And that was, you know, very rewarding for me. And up next, so, you know, 2020 has been kind of a crazy year. Just, but, and pretty much all of entertainment has really come to a grinding halt. I was fortunate in the end of 2019. I'm part of a film. It's called The Past Is Never Dead. It's actually it's the first and only licensed or sanctioned. What is the right word I'm looking for? It's not sanctioned, but basically allowed to happen documentary on American author William Faulkner, who people might know from As I Lay Dying. Lots of different, just interesting man who lived in a interesting time, who contributed interestingly to history. And so it's a docudrama. So all of the dramatic parts, I'm not all of it, but strong portions of it I'm in. I actually play his Hollywood mistress, which departure from my normal kinds of characters, but lots of fun and a great crew. Very excited about that project because I think it's really timely. It talks about, you know, what is it to be a change maker? And what is it to be a special person in a time where so much is kind of entrenched as to how things should be, but you know things can be a little different, but you still have your own demons. You know, and I think it's a story we see repeatedly all the time, right? So so that's a lot of fun. And actually in next year too, so that's on the acting side. On the music side, next year I'm preparing to release another full album. Really excited about that. It's called Only Love Remains. And every song talks about, I'll give you one guess, love.
Love.
So you know, it's good times. We figured out how to make the most of 2020 and, you know, like recording virtually. I'm in Florida, you know, the studio's in Nashville, and thank God for Zoom and all these other kinds of really cool programs, and you make more music. So, so it's been a fun year.
So I know you had just talked about 2020. How have you adapted with this weird 2020 year?
I've meditated more, a lot more. I mean, you know, I think there's a time whenever we're all given an opportunity, whether it's something we create ourselves or something that's forced, imposed, whatever, strongly suggested from outside forces, you know, for us to take the time to slow down. And that's really, to me, how 2020 has been. Now, I hear, well, look at all the stuff that's blowing up in the world and things are on fire and it's hot. Yeah, because people are being forced to turn and look inside and be confronted with things that they haven't dealt with before. And that kind of confrontation is what's stoking these flames. And you know what? Fire is a very, very powerful thing that we have here on Earth. It's deadly and it's life generating too. I mean, whenever a forest is burned, that's when new growth is enabled. So sometimes we need to have these things that burn away so that the new can grow. And that's kind of how, for me, 2020 has really been. In many ways, it's been very confronting. On on, personal side, down to, the whole world, and being present with the choices that I make. And it's not easy. I don't think it's been by any stretch an easy path for anybody. Good Lord. But I do think it's been an important one. So, I think trajectory wise, it's just brought me, I'm just trying to live more aware of everything that I'm doing, because everything I do, everything I say has a consequence. And am I doing and saying things that I like the integrity or honesty or love in which that is being done or said? It's not about me. It's about all of us. It's about that unity. So, wow, that was really deep and like.
No, this is a deep show. We getting deep. This is all about you.
Perfect. But all right, I'm in the right place then.
What has been the hardest thing within your career? What obstacles did you have to overcome, as well, with being a musician as well as an actress?
I think all of it I think any obstacle, at least in my life, has always boiled down to one thing, and it is, is there aspects of self-doubt. Because if someone says something to me like, oh, you're too whatever, you're too blonde, you're too redhead, you're too fair, you sing too high, you don't sing loud enough, you sing way too loud, like, whatever someone says of me, it's, again, how do I deal with that? If I deal with it at all, or do I just let it go? So I think any obstacle that has been presented to me has always been, how do I choose to react or act in a situation? I think trauma can project us forward or hold us back. And so how do you deal with whatever traumas that are going on? And, I think everything's just what we make of it. Like if we've had 2019 was strongly rooted in the idea of Me Too. And if you've had a Me Too moment, great. Done. What's next? And it's always that what's next. This idea of moving past needing to be a victim and moving towards being a victor. And it doesn't negate what's happened to you by any stretch. It doesn't mean that we have any less compassion for those that hurt. It doesn't mean I have any less compassion for myself for all the times that I have hurt. I've either hurt myself or someone has hurt me. But just being, trying to be gentle with myself. So these two ideas of self-doubt, but then being gentle with myself to deal through, to get to that point of like, I am a victor. So I think any kind of obstacle, and honestly, I'm not, my tendency has never been one to name an obstacle, because then I give it validity and suddenly it's actually a thing. And that's cool. It was here for a reason. Hopefully I learned something. If I didn't, I'm going to have to do it again. So let's get it right the first time. It's not always great. Frequently, I'm usually, like a 3 or 4, 5 or 6 timer to together. But it comes around. It comes around. So.
So I know you had an experience with performing on Broadway. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah. So it was always a lifelong dream of mine. I remember when I was in. I've always been a really big dork. And I embrace that. It's okay. So I was in the 6th grade and I was at a summer school camp at Stetson University. And one of the first things that they had us do was create a huge collage, almost like a vision board, but it was actually more to connect with other people. So it was kind of like, this is who I am. And these are the things I want to do. And I remember that was the first time I ever wrote down, I want to perform on Broadway. So it's kind of always been this lifelong dream. And yet the path to performing on Broadway, which is typically a pretty defined trajectory for people. I mean, most Broadway performers have gone to certain colleges studying musical theater or a similar, acting or a musical pursuit. And, like Carnegie Mellon, other institutes like that. And then they start matriculating onto Broadway. And that's a very normal kind of path. For me, it was very different. I actually came to Broadway because of the violins. So there was a show that had won, oh gosh, was it 8 or 11? I can't even remember now. Tony, it was very, very well loved. The show was called Once, and it's about a group of Irish and Czech immigrants live in Ireland, and it was based on a movie, and it's all musically driven, but with strong, very strong and grounded acting, situations, and just the whole narrative was really strongly story based. And if you hear meowing, it's my cat that's coming in because he wants to be a part of everything. So he might drop some wisdom bombs on us. But the cool thing about the show, just to sum it up, is that I got to they needed a violinist who could act and sing. So it was kind of a natural sort of fit. And so I performed with the Broadway show off and on for a year. I got to swing for them, but I was able to do it anywhere between a week to 3 weeks at a time. So I would go and I'd be in New York for however many weeks I was on, and then I'd come home or I'd go back and work on other projects. So it worked out just beautifully for me. And how it just kind of all fit together. And it was a pretty powerful experience. And I spent a little time as well on the national tour with them too. And, different group of people, totally different show, but really powerful life experiences. So
what advice can you give people that are trying to break into the entertainment field? What advice can you give them?
Wow, there's so much. Well, and not from me, but from stuff that, that people have shared with me and things that I've experienced or kind of picked up along the way. But it feels like, really everything just kind of boils down to, if you have a dream, find everything that's standing in your own way within you and let go of that to manifest your dream. So it doesn't matter if this is, because if it's in entertainment, whether it's in film, in music, any of that, it's, there's this really beautiful quote actually by, it's a Sufi poet, his name was Rumi. And he said, the obstacle is not to find love. The obstacle is the purpose is to remove everything that prevents you from experiencing love in your life. Then you'll get it. And I think that's the same thing. I think that's true for anything that we want to do in life, anything we want to create or manifest, and be honest with yourself. Can you learn more? Can you grow more? Can you take classes? Can you find ways to make yourself better? I think the idea is, one thing to have a dream, but you also have to prepare for success and never stop learning. My parents, I learned this from both of my parents. My mom, when she was 60, in 3 years, she got her doctorate degree in integrative medicine. When she was 60. Yeah. And, she was a businesswoman. She didn't have a significant science background, but this was something that she wanted to do and a subject that she was passionate about and she enjoyed. And that's just a perfect example. When you're passionate about something and you enjoy something, go as deep as you can into the learning process, and something good will always happen. And that something will lead to something else and something else and something else.
How has music molded you into the woman that you are today?
I don't know if I can answer that because I'm not sure who I would be without music. Music is vibration. So everything that makes me who I am, the way every cell of my body vibrates, is affected by the music I make and the music I intake. And so I can't fathom who I would be without it. I don't think I'm supposed to be without it in this life. I mean, so you stumped me. I don't know how to answer that.
I guess that's a great question.
Yeah, amazing question. So good.
What future roles would you love to be auditioned for in the next couple of years?
Well, that's really interesting because so this sounds really, really weird, but I've always, for some reason, just this past year, and maybe it's because of all the stuff that's going on in the world, but I've always wanted to play, sounds weird, I've always wanted to play an angel. An angel who shows up and just makes some stuff happen. I don't know. It sounds really kind of funny to say, but that's actually what I've been thinking about a lot. Almost like an angel Gabriel showing up and being like, "Okay, people, this is what's up. Choose." I like that.
So it's going to be something. It's going to be something like a good version of Lucifer.
Exactly, something very supernatural, natural, and something that's empowering to self-choice. And if it have wings, I'm totally with that.
And my last question for you is, what advice can you give people that are kind of stuck on the wheel and scared of taking that leap of faith?
Well, and I only share this, with you if you are feeling at a point where you're stuck. I think we've all been there. I know I have. I can't speak for Fago because he's obviously a rock star, but there's yeah, exactly. So he might not feel as stuck as I sometimes feel, but whenever I feel stuck, I just say, you know what? The first step is the hardest, but as soon as I take it, the second one becomes a lot easier. And to release the fear that's preventing you, either release it or confront it head on. Because when you confront something head on, remember how we were talking about vibration? It starts to literally kind of move and it starts breaking down. And I find, well, that fear that I thought I had, it's not nearly as intense as it was. Or I march straight up to it and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And I close my eyes and I take a step. And I think one of the things in life that I've had to wrap my brain around is there such thing as a wrong step? And I have come to the conclusion, and agree with me or not, that's totally fine. I don't think there is a wrong step, because I think the only wrong path is the one not walked down. And you may walk somewhere and be like, whoa, this is totally not what I thought it was going to be, and I'm going that way. Or you may be like, this is even better than I thought. Whatever that lesson is, I think it's less of that where you go and more of what you learn while you're getting there. So, just find your boldness, whatever that is. Because your boldness is just as special, just as powerful, just as unique, just as important as mine, as cool Fago over here. Everybody's boldness. See, he knows. It's something that we can't change, and nor should we ever want to.
Amen to that. Thank you for joining me on my show today. It's been a blessing. I love the encouraging words. You are a phenomenal woman, and I love everything you were saying.
Thank you, brother. I'm so glad to be here. I'm honored to be here with you and your fans and listeners. And, I always love connecting with people online and on social media. And if anybody ever just, wants to say hi or needs a social media high five or whatever, I'm here for you. Please always reach out.
Where can we find you?
You can
Where
find me
you on your social media?
Yeah, most of the time I'm on Instagram, though right now it's crashed, and I'm really hesitant to delete it from my phone and lose all my draft posts. Oh, first world problems. But you can find me on Instagram. I'm at C Closshey. And, I'm on everywhere else, on Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of other stuff too, but I really dig Instagram. So come say hi to me over there. We're on YouTube as well. You know, if you need a little dash of musical encouragement or video pick-me-ups or whatever, go to youtube.com/Charleene Closshey. I'd love to see you. And just know that we're all in this together. So.
Amen. Thank you again for joining me, and we will definitely talk soon.
Thanks, brother. I look forward to it. Y'all have a great day.
Yes, ma'am. All right now.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.